Today we're talking happiness, where I'm going to share with you a key ingredient to happiness as well as an exercise from a doctor at Mayo Clinic that leads you to experience more of that key ingredient and then of course more happiness in your life. Okay, the key ingredient to experience more happiness is connection. Connection is a pillar of wellness that is just as important as eating right, as exercising, sleeping well, reducing stress, all of the kind of big hitters we think of when we think of wellness. So I want to share with you this exercise. It's from Dr. Amit Sood, who you have heard me talk about before. And it's from the book here he wrote, Handbook for Happiness. And the reason I want to share this exercise with you today, because it's specific to connection, related to compassion. But as we know, connection is a key ingredient to happiness, so this particular exercise will help you experience connection. There's two parts to the exercise. The first part of the exercise is to think of something that you can do that would not require anything from anybody else. So think of something you can do that would not require anything from anyone else. As you can imagine, it's probably going to be pretty hard to come up with a pretty big list. You might be able to come up with a few, but if I think about things I enjoy, I couldn't read a book if the author didn't write it. I couldn't bake or cook if I didn't have a farmer growing the food, or half the stuff I like to do in my house if I didn't have shelter or some basic thing where somebody built this home for me. Just all the things you could think of, all the things that you do. What can you guys come up with that you could do that would not require anything from anybody else? The intent behind the first part of this exercise on connection is to get people to realize just how interconnected we all are and interdependent we all are. So for example, in the book, Dr. Sood shares our internal organs and how if one organ were to fail, eventually all of them do. They're all kind of interdependent on one another. And as human beings, we kind of are as well. All right, the second part of the exercise is to think of someone. So right now, come up with someone in your mind. Can be absolutely anybody, but I can tell you this is a really neat exercise if perhaps there's someone that you love and you're having a disagreement, or maybe it's someone more challenging that you have to work with. You know, this can be a really good exercise for a situation like that. Or if you're just feeling disconnected from someone or you want to connect with someone more, this is a great exercise. So just think of someone, anyone. So when you have that person in your mind right now, what you want to do is come up with a list of similarities. What are things that you have in common with that person? Because research shows that we can bond pretty easy when we have similarities with someone, that we feel connected much more to someone when we have things in common. So especially if you're struggling with someone, this exercise, as you see, can be really helpful because it shifts our focus and helps us feel more connected to that person. And you guys, sometimes this exercise will be really easy. It'll be super easy to come up with a list of things you have in common. Other things might not be so easy, so don't be afraid to get really high level, like you both work at the same company, or you're both parents. We just kind of keep working at this, and again, the goal is for you to experience that feeling of connection. Because connection leads to compassion, but it also leads to happiness. And where this exercise is really beneficial and how it helps you feel connected and experience happiness is because you guys remember when I mentioned that Dr. Sood relates happiness kind of a butterfly. If we chase it, it tends to run away. When you are just sitting here and being you and being wonderful and awesome and intentional and choosing to take a moment to see how you are connected with someone, happiness comes to you. You don't have to chase it. If you want to learn more, check out this book. I will link it below. If you like content like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Join my VIP list at bertavip.com. I appreciate you letting me share this with you, and I will see you next time.